Great Blacks in Wax extended tour shuttle bus tours. We have 3 young people who are our docent trainees. They will be the tour guides for your tours today. We have 3 stops that we're going to make. The Civil War Museum, the Lily Mae Carroll Museum, and the Hampton Mansion. We're going to make up some time with the Civil War Museum, so that's going to be a little quick, and I would expect by the time we get to Lily Mae Carroll that we'll be back on schedule. So welcome everyone. It is an educational experience today. You'll get to learn about Black history in Baltimore City. Our docents are...
My name is Donald Meredith.
Okay.
My name is Makai Stewart.
My name is Tanaya Nash.
Sit back and enjoy yourselves.
To your left hand, right hand side, my left hand side, is the Civil War Museum. This building began construction in May 1849, but it opened publicly February the 18th, 1850. The building, the brick was painted brown to resemble brownstone, which was a popular building product back in the day. The building was $8,812.73. George Parker designed the railroad station, and the construction engineer was Isaac Risley Temple. So the same people that own the Risley Mansion is the same people that own the Civil War Museum. It was originally the P.W.B. Railroad Station, Philadelphia, Wilmington, and Baltimore Railroad Station. That's the Civil War Museum.
I want to sign.
On the Baltimore riots of 1861, when the first people were actually killed during the Civil War. War started. North wanted to send troops to Washington, D.C. Means you have to come through Baltimore, more specifically, you can come through this building right here. This is the President Street Station. It's built in 1850. It's the oldest remaining urban station in the United States. And at the time of the war, it was the terminal for the Philadelphia railroad lines coming down the East Coast to wind up right here. At which point, you have to get on the horse cars and go across town and get the train to Washington, D.C. from the B&O station on the other side of town, because they won't allow locomotives downtown. They're too dangerous. And when the Southern sympathizers in town realized the troops would be coming through, they formed a mob to try to stop them from making the transfer between the stations. And this results in the presidential election of 1860 for the city of Baltimore. Maryland was a slave state. It was very evenly divided between the secessionists and the unionists, although Lincoln himself wasn't very popular here. But it was about a 50-50 split, and Maryland wound up furnishing troops to both sides of the war. What they call a border state. All of this happened 1 week after the first shots were fired at Fort Sumter, as the 6th Massachusetts Regiment got on the train in Boston and got off here at the station April 19th. That'll give the details what happened then. And we got more on the occupation and aftermath over here. On the back we got a bit on the Underground Railroad, which would use the station from time to time, and the colored troops, USCT colored troops that Baltimore furnished during the war. And over there we got this 15-minute video that we'll repeat after a while. Otherwise, if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the 6th Massachusetts regimental flag. All regiments have their own flag, you know.
My name is Tanaya Nash. I will be explaining briefly about the Willie Mary Carroll Museum before we go in to be guided by a docent inside the museum. Willie Mary Carroll Jackson was born on May 25th, 1889. She was an activist and she was an organizer for the NAACP, and she worked alongside people like Martin Luther King, Thurgood Marshall, etc. And she was an activist that changed many things, and that helped with equity amongst African Americans and permitted them to go into some schools in Baltimore. What else to say? She valued faith, education, and family. That was one of her most prized things that she held close to her heart. And she also had health complications that you will further learn inside the museum. And she had to get a surgery which affected the muscles in her face, and it affected her speech and her facial expressions, and she usually took pictures on the other side where the damage was done. She said she would dedicate herself, and she prayed to the Lord that if her face remained and if her health pulled through, that she would dedicate herself to serving her people for the betterment of African Americans and to have integration and to be equal. Willie Mae Carroll was an activist who helped her child get into that school. One of her daughters also married Clarence Mitchell Jr., and he was also an activist who did many things to promote equity amongst African Americans. Her child, or her daughter, is the director of the museum, and she coordinates most of the things that happens inside of it. Her mother wanted, or Willie Mae wanted to have the museum dedicated to be for her home to be a museum when she passed, so people can know what happened in the past. There's a lot of pictures and artifacts and stuff. Well, not artifacts really, but items in her home that was hers. When you go in, there is an orientation room in the back where her graduation dress and her picture was shown in the back, with her holding, I believe, was either her diploma or her degree. When you walk in, I believe that was the banner for the NAACP. When people were lynched or hanged, they would put that banner outside, and I believe it was like a man was lynched yesterday or today, and they put that out there to raise awareness to the people who didn't know. I believe that's it.
So maybe sometime inside. Are you going to be the main docent in here?
No, there's going to be somebody that.
Oh, the museum.
Tour guide. We're going to walk up the street to the museum now.
You got legal free.
Don't be too proud, lady.
So if one stick with the tour guide, whoever's doing the tour,
And she would have such guests as Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Jackie Robinson, and of course Clarence Mitchell, her son-in-law and daughter, Juanita Jackson Mitchell. Those names sound familiar, young men in the back, the tall guys. Were you here before?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, all right, so I can ask you lots of questions, right? So, welcome, welcome. Now, I'm going to take you this way. Did anybody notice this when they walked in?
Yeah.
George Arnold, 1933. Not only did they lynch him, pull him from the jail, lynch him, cut off his ear, various forms of mutilation, they also set him ablaze. This was not unlike many lynchings in the U.S. where there were crowds watching. EJI, Equal Justice Initiative, you heard of that?
Yes.
Brian Stevenson, it's documented over 4,000, maybe 4,500 racially motivated lynchings in America. Okay, we're gonna go watch her. You didn't have time for the documentary before, did you? To share with us why she stands like
It's
so I asked you.
Yeah, she had shoes. That's right. She had the surgery that went bad and ended up messing up the whole right side of her feet. So when she took pictures, she always let the left side of her feet be same. Found a photograph. And that's what I know about that.
Okay. We're not working the same, and over time it drooped. Many people thought she had a stroke, but that was not the case. But you see her entire family, extended family. You see Clarence Mitchell, who they call the 101st Senator, daughter Juanita, who became the first African-American woman to practice law, and her daughter Virginia, who opened the museum. Now she wanted to be an artist. She wanted to attend museums, but the doors were closed because she was black, as well as she wanted to attend MICA, right around the corner here, Maryland Institute. Doors were closed. So Mother said, don't worry, you'll have your own museum one day, I will help you. She went to school at Pennsylvania School of Art. As Juanita went to University of Pennsylvania, Maryland, if they didn't have the curriculum here at a HBCU, they would pay for you to go out of state to attend a college out of state. Isn't that something? I know God knows it. In one sentence, tell them what this story is about.
So these men were all on the train along with these two prostitutes, and these policemen were were nearby, and the prostitutes were afraid of getting caught, so they lied on these men right here, except that they raped them. And even after, a few years later, one of the women even admitted that they lied, and people still believe that these men raped those women.
So it's 9 young men. The youngest was 12 or 13. Yeah, I think it was nothing. But they tried him first because they said he looked guilty. That's the reason we tried him. And but Clarence Mitchell also, as a reporter, went and reported on that and went to Alabama for that. But anyway, Miss Jackson, or Miss Juanita Jackson Mitchell, you'll see her on the cover of Crisis magazine, which was NAACP's May magazine when she first got hired. So she picketed as a young lady and continued throughout all her years that she was able. Now Clarence, especially you young men, might want to do some research on him.
Inside, you can see the cornfield, and instead of picking cotton, that's often what the slaves would do. They would harvest the different crops such as tobacco and corn, such things like that. And over there to the left-hand side, you can see the milk house, and there was this really cold water stream that would flow through it, and they would store bottles of milk in the water to keep the milk cold.
They were able to make what?
They were able to make ice cream. Okay. So the next few houses I'll be showing you, these are the slave quarters. These are where the slaves would come after their day job or their work as a slave were over, and it wasn't very furnished because they wouldn't spend a lot of time in here. They would only be in here for enough time just to sleep, and then as soon as they wake up, it'd be right back to work. From the outside, they don't look as bad. But that was only just, to give a nice appearance for when they had guests over, because there were frequently guests coming to visit. Just like I said, these weren't very furnished because they wouldn't spend a lot of time in here. It's very old, It wouldn't just depend on like how much time they spent in here, and also depending on your value to the slave master. A child's value wouldn't be the same as an adult's value because a child wouldn't be doing the same labor as an adult. Just as an old man's value wouldn't be the same as a younger man's value because you can get more out of the younger man more than you can the old man. So it all depended on what you were capable of and your age. That's how the overseer would value. They would often put prices on slaves, and they weren't like literally. It's not as if they had a certain amount of money to their name. It would more so be they would sell the slaves for that amount of price based on what the overseer or slave owner felt that they were worth.
How many slaves would they hold in this particular?
About 25, 50. They would all be bunched up. It wasn't in our space.
Right, there was no specific number.
No, how many would live in this space right here?
Right.
In this specific space, there really is no specific number, and there really isn't a specific way to tell unless the slave owner was keeping record, which probably wasn't.
I have somebody to introduce you to. The park ranger at this park. Oh, Anna Quality. Yeah, Anna Quality. You need to talk to her.
She would know, Deborah?
I had the same question. What's that? How many slaves did you put in there? Look like the size of my living room, you know?
But these floors are wood. That was unusual.
They probably did that so after they turned it into a museum. If I knew it was probably dirty animals.
If you look over here, this is where they would put ashes from like the fire and stuff. And they would have the were one of the jobs that the children would do. They would have the children come and collect the ashes so they could then make soap out of them. Just little jobs for the smaller children to do. What was it?
Or was it places where they kept the ashes, where the children had to come get the ashes?
So, like I said, to the slave owner, a slave would have a specific value, and here actually I can show you the exact values. So let's say you were a man of age 25, skilled worker, and you were very strong. The slave owner would value at $800. Let's say you were a female, you were 24, you were skilled domestic, and good for childbearing. You'd be worth $400. I said a teenager, 15, around my age, you could milk the cows, and you'd be worth $200. And let's say a bit younger than me, like 10, you could strong back and can slop the hogs, and you'd be worth $100. And if you were older, like around 65, you could just feed the chickens. So like I said, it wasn't like they had an actual dollar or money to their name. The slave owner would often use them to sell, or let's say it was a specific mortgage or debt, they could use the slaves to pay that debt off.
That's how you record it as well. How you price the value of slave. Yeah. For the calendar, like calendar, the whole thing. Which one, baby? Daddy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Excuse me.
You don't want to live here? Take a picture of it.
Whatever I am.
Here it comes. Then you can kind of slide.
So, alright. The first thing that you would probably notice is that this one has a sink. But just look around at the overall features of the house. This one doesn't have a lot of appealing paint. The floors were more intact. This house was a lot more neater compared to the other slave quarters, and that's because the slaves that lived in this house were probably valued a bit more than the other slaves that were living in the other slave quarters. It would also depend on if you had a big family. You would often be put in a house like this, but not only does it have a faucet, but this one has an actual bed. Often, there weren't necessarily toilets during this time, so there would for the white people, there would be a specific area where they could go, and then for the slaves, it'd be a specific area for where they can go. But in this house, if you look over there at that white pot, you can see that's where some slaves would even go to use their business. They even had a pot and a bed.
And the pot was called a chamber pot. Or slop jar.
Come on, man, see what?
Could you repeat what the pot was called, man?
If you look over to that white pot, it's also known as a chamber pot where the slaves would often do their business.
What, that's a chamber pot?
No, that white pot right there.
That one over there is a furnace. That's just a bucket. Sorry.
So that'd be the equivalent of an indoor bathroom, I guess.
Yeah. And then every once in a while they would empty it.
Every once in a while?
Not every. They wouldn't let it fill it to the point where that's all you could notice and smell.
Right.
You cooked on that, and you got your heat out of that.
Oh, okay.
So they can make some, like the crock pots nowadays, when you sit all day, the pot would sit there while you're out working, and you come in and see it. Come out. Wait for him to come out.
If you look over, just right across from this pathway, this right here is the overseer's house. And the overseer's job was pretty much to just look over the slaves while they did their work and just to make sure that the work was being done.
Who was the overseer?
It wasn't one specific person. It'd just be somebody that the slave owner could trust to do the job. John Risley was actually the original. Him and his family were the original owners of this house before they moved over to that big old mansion over there.
On the top of the hill?
Yes. We're now heading back to the bus. On the extended tours that. Thank you all so much.